G'day guys, this time on the Troopy episode, we've enhanced the engine. It drives amazing, it sounds amazing, and it's still reliable. How's that possible? Stay tuned and find out. But we haven't done a handbrake.
Deja vu, I think we've had this conversation before. Give me the keys and say see you later. At least you know it'll be fitted right.
Today is the Troopy's birthday. We are going to give it a bit of a tickle. Trav, how you going, mate?
Good, mate, yourself?
Run us through, mate. What are we doing?
Yeah, so we're going to put some mods into the vehicle. Obviously, we're going to tune it. We're going to ECU tune it this time, something different. And obviously upgrade the clutch, upgrade crossover pipe, put some gauges in the vehicle so you can monitor the temps. And also down here, we've got the intercooler upgrade, flash tuning the factory ECU.
Yep.
So there's no cut and splice or anything like that. It's all tuned the factory ECU. And once it's tuned, you probably should get to camp in the daylight.
I just want to add as well, we're not tuning for Rhonda. Oh man! Tuning for Ronny.
Yes.
Which means we're not tuning a race car, we're tuning a reliability car like what's proven on the 79. So along the way, as things go into the vehicle, Trav's going to explain why we're using those parts, and I'll come in with a few layman's terms things as well, in case he uses too big a mechanical word. How do you spell mechanical again?
I'm not sure, I'm only a mechanic.
Let's begin with some sweet, sweet sounds of the V8 pre-DPF with a straight pipe. So that is what the exhaust sounds like now. It's the same exhaust that was on before we tuned the vehicle. It's a 3-inch redback exhaust, straight pipe. Now I have tried the other options, we'll get to those in a second. But that's what it sounds like now. And it's changed a lot because of the crossover pipe, the tune, and of course the intercooler as well. It all makes a little difference. This is what it sounded like before. Now, before. Now, before. As I mentioned, we have tried other options, the resonator and the muffler, and this is what they sounded like before the tune. Standard muffler. If it wasn't for the V8, I wouldn't notice cars even on. From inside the car though, you can't really tell too much. Okay, resonator. Liking that sound. Feels and sounds like a V8. This feels so much lighter than the 79. Labouring up the hill. Definitely hear it inside the cab though. Here we go. Alright, we did it. Straight pipe run. Definitely a crackle. Yeah, I like this. Oh, there's the crackle. And that's how V8 should sound. So again, muffler, resonator, straight pipe, muffler, resonator, and what it sounds like now again with the straight pipe.
Okay, so we've just got the factory intercooler off. What we're going to upgrade with is the cross country intercooler. As you can see, there is a slight change in size of the cooler. The core is much thicker. The subtle differences in the two intercoolers, the factory intercooler here, you're going to see the extrusion runs from the front tank to the back tank. And then when we come over to the cross-country intercooler, we then run from left to right. So effectively, we've got about 270 millimeters of extrusion in the tube here, and this is roughly around 600 mils, so it means there's more surface area, so obviously the cooling efficiency of the intercooler is going to be much better. With the added bonus as well, we've got the fans underneath to help with the low down speed so we can get the airflow through, so we've got more cooling capacity. And obviously it's a thicker extrusion as well, the core itself. Inside of the tanks, the factory cooler has a lot of sharp edges, which obviously reduce airflow. And inside the cross-country intercooler, they've done their art. Everything's nicely finished off, all TIG welded, mandrel bent pipe work, and obviously larger silicon hoses and clamps to suit. We'll get this on the vehicle and get it all fitted up.
Apart from mounting the intercooler to the engine, you also have to trim the hood lining and add a couple of brackets. By the way, I've had this exact same intercooler on the 79 for 2 years. In complete layman's terms and experience with the 79, putting this exact style of intercooler in your vehicle will reduce your EGTs by 50 degrees. 50 degrees Celsius may not sound like much when we're talking exhaust gas temperatures, but when you're teetering on the edge of 550 EGTs towing a trailer on a beach for a long period of time, you don't really want to be sitting up at those degrees. But sitting at 500 is acceptable. And in some cases, all the way down to 450. And that's the main reason why I upgraded the intercooler on my 79, and the same reason why I'm putting the same system on the 78. And that's really good. So on the highway going up hills and stuff, it used to go like right up to 500 or 550, but 450, 500, much better. I'm not worrying about the engine too much being so hot. But not only that, in low range, when you're sitting on some soft sand on a beach and you're not going that fast, the intercooler fans underneath will make up for the lack of the forced air coming through the actual bonnet scoop, which also in turn keeps it cooler. So an average of 50 degrees. And how do I know that? I can monitor it with these gauges right here. This is the top one, the EGT gauge. This one down here is a boost gauge. With the EGT gauge, I can keep an eye on where the vehicle's sitting and how hot it's getting. And ideally for this type of vehicle, from learning from the 79, 10 years driving it, around 250 is good on the highway. And when you're really pushing it, look, 550 is just too much, as I mentioned just before. So ideally, you want it, when you're really pushing it, 450, 500, that's kind of where you want it to sit, maximum.
So we've just taken off the factory crossover pipe. We're going to upgrade it with the crossover pipe here. Difference in the two, this one here is obviously still port matched flanges on here. It's ceramic coated to keep the heat in there, whereas the factory one's got the bellows and wrapping only in certain sections. It's got directional exhaust bellows in here, so as the gases flow one way. It's got a V-band in the middle, so fitting is easy. All the factory mounting points are there. It's got the new gaskets to install, so let's get it on the vehicle. Okay, so we've got the clutch out of the vehicle. Flywheel's actually looking pretty good, so Ronnie's driving style. Bit of a big tick, no real hot spots on the flywheel. However, the clutch engagement point was very high on the take-up, so it was time for a clutch upgrade. Clutch plate and pressure plate, all pretty good, just obviously got that degree of wear. So let's check out the new clutch upgrade we're going to fit today. Quick run through of the components. We've got a billet flywheel here. We've got the clutch cover. Also, we've got the clutch plate here. We've got a spigot bearing, throw-out bearing, and all the hardware to mount it up. We've also got an aligning tool, and we're going to reuse the genuine flywheel bolts. One quick tip I do want to say, when you're handling a new clutch, either clean your hands before you're touching the mating surfaces or put clean gloves on, because you don't want to contaminate the new clutch assembly. So let's get into it and get it fitted up.
In terms of the clutch, it feels amazing. Now obviously the main reason for the clutch is because we've tuned the vehicle. With the 79, when I first got the tune, we didn't upgrade the clutch, and straight away I was slipping in third and fourth gear, even in second gear actually. But the other benefit I've got now is before I was getting pretty tired in traffic because the clutch was so high as well. But now it's so much softer as well. When I first got in, I almost put the bloody clutch pedal through the bloody floor. It's very similar to the 79, although the 79 feels a little bit different for some reason. It's the same clutch and everything. Might just be because I've worn that one a bit more. Feels really good. And the uptake on it is quite responsive too. There's no shuddering or anything like that.
Tuning Ronny's Troopy. I had to tune it with an ECU tune, so it's one tune, it's got to be fit for all purposes and safe and reliable. The difference between the two, obviously Ronny's 79 series was tuned with a Unichip with a piggyback ECU, and that has multiple maps, so we can do multiple tunes, different situations. Dyno tune, end results. Let's have a look at the graphs and the figures and run through them. Straight away, what you're going to see is the max power figures. The green is actually the before and the red is the after. For those that don't know, they are the max power figures. And now let's explain where the max power figures are. We're going to talk power first as well. Obviously that's all it's relating to is the kilowatts of the rear wheels. Maximum factory power was 104 kilowatts and it was near on about 3,500 RPM. And now we've arrived at 136 kilowatts, but you'll see that the power curve, it's a lot broader and holds longer, so we've got more usable power. However, let's refer back to a driving range. What we've marked on the screen here, you're gonna see 2,000 RPM. We've arrived at 61 kilowatts from factory, and we've come up to 108 kilowatts at 2,000 RPM. So that's a 77% increase at 2,000 RPM. And as you can see here, it's very linear in the factory. So literally just the more you rev, the more you get. So it encourages you yourself as a driver just to keep revving the engine, hunting for more power. And what we've come up with here is you're gonna see a nice broader curve with more usable power. And obviously with that is gonna be the torque. So next we're gonna discuss the torque and what the factory produced. The green line at the bottom of the screen here that runs up along here and then down, then drops off. This is the factory torque. In the green here with the arrow, 2,000 RPM once again. We've got 292 Newton meters of torque at the rear wheels. Doesn't matter how much you rev it, you don't get any more torque, and that's what that line represents. In the end result here, broader, it's holding a lot longer. At the 2,000 RPM mark, we've got 528 Newton meters of torque at the rear wheels at 2,000 RPM. What that's arriving at is 81% increase in torque. So what we're encouraging you to do here is through the driving range, so pretty much got great increases from 1,400 RPM all the way through to 3,000 RPM. That's generally where you're going to be driving the vehicle. A nice crisp engine response there. One thing I want to point out, all of these results and what you're seeing here is just a wide open throttle setting. So that means your foot is pedal to the metal. Let's be realistic, you don't drive there that often. Under the curve, so all your part throttle is where the focus needs to be. That's going to deliver you the best drivability and usable power, and obviously that's what Ronny's going to see when he drives the vehicle and gets a nice clean response from how the engine performs.
It's killer!
Okay, so how do we achieve these results? Boost and AFRs, let's have a quick run through that. Green line, what you're going to see here is the factory boost curve. And then the red line is what we've got after we've got our tuning strategies in there. Pretty much the end result, you can see pretty clear here, 16 pounds boost pressure. It's probably going to grow about 17 pound on the road. So finished results are around that sort of 19 to 1 ratio through here. Safe as houses. Remember, this car isn't brand new, near on 10 years old. Got to do one tune that's going to be fit for all purposes. I just want to make a note, we've got factory injectors, factory turbos, and a 10-year-old vehicle, so it'll be great to see what he thinks of it in a real-world application, on-road and off-road, and it's a one-tune-fits-all package. Let's see what he has to say.
With the tune, because I knew we had to finesse the tune a little bit. So far, oh my God, it's perfect. Almost feel like it's a better tune than what's in the 79. And that was the whole idea, I guess, was to find the tune that I could use for all purposes. highway, low range, slow, torquey climb stuff, that kind of thing. Found the guards then. This thing desperately needs a lift. Woohoo! This is awesome. So happy with the power out of this thing. It's just turned this thing into a beast. Like, to start with, going from the 79, which is an absolute monster, and then hopping into this thing that was stock. It was kind of like a grandpa spec, but now it's killer. We've been test driving nearly the whole day up here at Lancelin. I've gone through nearly half a tank of fuel, just really giving it amazing tune, loving it. Seems to behave really well here with the slow stuff, so I've got no doubt it'll be good when we get to the rocky stuff as well. Super stoked with the tune. I don't think I want to hamper too much with the tune. I was meant to just go out, test it, and then we'll make adjustments to it, but I am super happy where it is. Super happy.